Let's build one of these MSX Omegas then, shall we? So, alright then, first things first, what is or what was the MSX? Well, if you're outside of Japan or niche computer clubs in Europe, you probably won't recognise the term, so let me fill you in. MSX, originally supposedly standing for Machines with Software Exchangeability, was an attempt at standardising home computer architecture at the time. So think how PCs are largely standardised now, it's that sort of thing they were going for. Anyway, it was initially conceived by Microsoft for Japan, and promoted by a chap called Katsuhiko Nishi, Vice President of Microsoft Japan and the Director at ASCII Corporation. So here's the man himself with Bill Gates as a toddler. And yes, that's the same ASCII Corporation responsible for the RPG Maker series of game development tools. So what exactly is the MSX Omega then? Who made it? How can we just build one from scratch? So the Omega was never a machine that was actually released as a product. It was developed as an open source project by Sergei Kiselev in 2019. In general, following the bill of materials, the end result should produce an MSX2 or 2 Plus compatible machine, with mostly current off-the-shelf parts. Well, I say mostly because some chips, namely the video and audio chips, they've got no modern alternatives. They have to be scavenged from somewhere. Or you may need to get lucky on eBay or AliExpress. So speaking of AliExpress, before starting I wanted to check that the RAM I ordered wasn't fake or rebadged and was actually working correctly. So I dug out my retro chip tester, selected the 4464 option, and I dutifully went through the entire pile, and thankfully all testing okay. So with a project this large, as you saw in the beginning, where do we begin? So generally, I always think it's best to start with the most tedious part. In this case, that's the keyboard. Repetitive soldering, ho! But however, I'm going to be using MSX Maker's Omega step-by-step guide to help out with this. And they move between the mainboard and keyboard throughout, so I'll be doing the same. So, with that said and done, let's take a look at the boards initially and get soldering. So these have been lovingly printed by my friends at PCB Way, who are in fact the sponsors of it. No, they're not. No, ignore me. These have actually been printed by a other company called JLPCB. They're my usual go-to if I don't need any kind of extra 3D printing or anything like that. So as we can see, I'm just going to refocus because you just got my fluorescent light flashing off the very shiny board here. It's very lovely. So we've got the 5-volt power there, various ports and shenanigans all the way along, and you can see the footprints for all the chips and so forth, and a lovely 2032 battery holder. And you can see this is the 1.4 board, so this dates from 2021, and you can see the 2 cartridge slots right there in the corner. And you've probably noticed there's another board. Basically, we're going to need to type on this thing. So you can see there, Mega Home Computer Keyboard version 1.1. And you can see what I mean when I say this is very tedious soldering. So that's going to be something that of course I will speed up for you, because I don't want to force you guys to stay here and watch this in real time, because wow, that would be a shocking amount of time. So I'm going to use my T12-958 from QuickCo, which is essentially Hacko compatible with the T12 tips. Good times. I was going to use some tip tinner as well from MG Chemicals. Let's see if we can just focus on that. There we are. I was going to use some of this. However, as you can tell by all the scratch marks, I can't get the bloody thing open. So that's just going to sit there, and we're going to use this just sort of neat, I guess. It's the lead-free solder. I don't like using leaded. I know a lot of people swear by it. it's really bad for the environment, for you, for everything. It's just terrible. And no person at home should be using it at all. There's a reason. There's a reason the EU has banned it for home use. So let's just go with lead-free. I've never had any issues with this particular brand, and I don't think I'll have any issues today either. Okay, that all said and done, let's get on with it. First things first, we're going to solder the diodes, and yeah, off we pop. Okay, so next up we have some 470 ohm resistors. So we've got 3 in the keyboard and 1 in the main board. Let's get to it. Okay, so this bit is very interesting. So I don't know if we can see through the reflections here. Let me just change the focus. But you can see I've got myself, this is the main video chip for the MSX. I've got myself a V9958, and very particularly there's a couple of jumpers we need to set, because if we don't, we could fry that very valuable chip right there. So we can see over this side here, we have to set this jumper here to V9958, so we need to set it to these two. Okay, and there's also another jumper here, same orientation, so we just need to set those two up there. And we can do that with more focus and some of our little offcuts, because obviously we're not going to be changing that, we're not going to be downgrading our MSX2 Plus to an MSX2. There's no point. So those jumpers can be permanent. Normally with jumpers you'd want to like put a couple of pin headers in there and put a little, you know, little thing you can sort of pluck and adjust, but there's no need in this case because we're not going to be downgrading. Okay, music time. Them all in there, and the same value ones I'll try to keep the same orientation as well to make it look a little bit better. So all the similar footprints we can see there are either capacitors or what's the other word I'm looking for? Inductors. But yeah. So as we look around the board, you may notice a little bit of spatters of solder and flux and all sorts of things. But we're going to give this a nice isopropyl bath before we test anything. So no need to worry. Okay then, so next I think we're going to have to go back to the grind and do some ceramic capacitors now. Speaking of capacitors, I should probably explain 68 in the middle there. Very, very odd footprint. So you can see the one on the left is a positive and the other two are negative. However, if you followed the official bill of materials, you will notice that the capacitors that are chosen are not polarized. So where do we put them? Well, in this case, we need to put one between the positive and any of the negatives. Doesn't matter which way around it goes, but yeah, that's how you do it. So in our case, probably going to use whichever two fall the most appropriately, I think. On with the show. You can see in this particular case, there we are, we're using the two outside ones because that seemed to be where they would fall. So let's put the rest of these in and carry on. C7, darling, can you see C7? That's 79. I have found C7. Let's pop it in the thingy. Is it yellow and unpolarized? Do do do. Do 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 do. I think I'm going mad. Properly mad I am. So good news, all of the yellow caps are now done, and I don't want to see another 0.1 microfarad cap in the rest of my life. But as we can see, looking hunky-dory. So we can do a flyby. Yeah, anyway. It's time to move on with some more, because we're not quite done with the caps yet. I've got another 10 bags. Okay, so it's about time to move on to the rest of the sockets. 962 solder points. So I'm not going to make you sit through that, we're going to do a cut. But first of all, I want to show you just how many wire leads I have cut off so far. Look at the state of that. I won't be short of wire links for any time soon, I'm going to tell you that much. So, we're going to do a quick cut. And we'll see. And lo and or behold, we are done with the sockets. I have now lost the will to live, but we have got there. Let me just show you a bit of a closer view here. As you can see, we've got all of our IC sockets in. And you can see that lovely one from DigiKey there, where I didn't have to modify it, thank God. You can see our V9958 and everything else there, memory chips. So the next thing we're soldering are the resistor networks, or resistor arrays. I'll just show you what these things look like, because they're kind of interesting. So, right here. So that's one of them, and that goes in RR1. So yeah, wherever that will be on the board is exactly where it will go. So let's replace that and have a quick nosy. So we need four. These come in a pack of 4, and we need to put those in. So I need to find out where I've got RR1 here. Perfect. You can see RR1 10K. Now if we look at it, you can see, let's see if I can get the glare off there. You can see it's 10 times 1. Yeah? So that'll be 10K, so 1K. Now as you can see, there is a square dot on the board, and that means this is polarized. So if we get this the wrong way around, we're going to have major problems. So as you can see, the resistor debris has a dot. Look at the size of my finger, Jesus. There's a little dot there, and that indicates where we need to pop it in here. So without further ado, I'm going to fast forward and we'll get all 4 of those ones in. So luckily that was done quite quickly. So we have all of our resistor networks attached now. And there's just one on the screen, and we can see, you know, a few more that I've done as well. So the next thing we need to do is we need to attach, not Q2, remember we're leaving that one blank, but we need to attach Q1. Which is, if I can find it on the screen, there we go, Q1, right in the middle of your screen. So that is another polarized object. So we need to basically install it in the orientation that's displayed on the silk screen there. And alongside that, we're going to be installing the fuse, which, bear with, is there. And finally, well not finally, but finally for this little section here, we're attaching the CR2032 battery holder. So let's get to it. Okay, those are all in, and now it's capacitor time. This is a Nichicon 220 microfarad 25 volts, and I have 5, and they will go in this row here. So I shall chuck those in. Hyperspeed. Ninety, oh 92, where are you going to? 90, oh 92, where are you going to? Our sincere apologies for the musical, by the way. And I've got to stop looking here because that's where my preview is. I've got to look there. That's where you are. Just in case you didn't know. Anyway, back to this. We are done with the caps. We are done with the caps. Caps. We're done. We are done with the caps. No more caps for me. No more caps for thee. We are done with the caps. So, that all said and done. We're pretty much, I'd say almost there. So we've got all of our sockets and capacitors, all resistors, everything like that, all populated. And we need to start on the connectors now, essentially. And there's a few jumper pads, so I don't know if you can see right here. There's some little jumper pads that we need to pop in. But I think that's been a long enough first video for the channel. So if you do want to see the second part, where you move on to the connectors and keyboard, make sure to like and subscribe, as they all say. And of course you have to, hit that bell icon as well. Because YouTube has this habit of just forgetting to tell you of new videos, which baffles me, because obviously you subscribe to someone, you want to see their videos, but it just won't show you them. So there's quite a few times I've had to go back into my history and look what say Agents Digital Basement or Step Sticks Fix has posted, because it will just not show me them. So make sure you do click that bell icon. And of course, if you have any comments on anything I did wrong in the video, anything I could have done better, or whatever you think about the MSX, maybe I got the terminology wrong for what it was originally known for. Was it machines with something exchangeability? Can't remember. Anyway, we're going to move on with this in part 2. So as I say, stay tuned, and if you like what you see, make sure to let me know. And if you don't like what you see, make sure to let me know as well.